Right, hello again. Today I'm going to tie you a holy grail Caddis nymph, or pupa, whichever way you want to call it really. These are great little flies for loads of different situations really. I've caught fish with these, dead drifting them down the river for trout and grayling. I've caught them actually swinging in the river with the flies, swinging it across the flow for grayling. It's a good still water pattern too, with the grey partridge sort of legs at the front. It kind of lends itself to being jigged in front of fish, so I use this stalking quite a bit. Anyway, let's start by taking this one out of the vise, and in the vise I'm going to put a curved shank style hook. This is actually a Camazam B110, and it's size 12, and there's a 3mm gold bead on there as well. It's a tungsten bead. Now we're going to start the thread. Thread is a bit thick really. I could do with 70, but I'm actually using 140 because I like to have a red head on these flies to give it a little bit of an aiming point. Now I'm going to start the thread. It's going to be a little bit back behind the bead, about where the bead is now, leaving me a little gap because I've got a winder, a hackle on in front. So I'm just going to position the bead where I want it, come in, start my thread there, come down a few turns, snip the thread 3, and now I'm going to tie in my rib. Rib is just it's the uni mylar in gold and silver, and it's the silver side that I want to use today. So I'm just going to trim, get the bead out of the way, just going to trim me off a little tag. I'm just going to catch it in. I'm just going to catch it in on my way down. I'm going to come round into the bend a little bit. Okay, let's try and hoik that out of the way somewhere. Dubbing is just hare's mask. Just all the fur that I've picked off a hare's mask. We're going to dub that on the thread, and that's going to be our body. So I'm just going to dub some on here, a little bit more. Again, with dubbing, the less you try and dub on in one go, the easier it is to dub on. And take your time when putting dubbing on. You know, the more time you spend doing these little steps like this, the better your fly will turn out. Just going to slide that up, and now I'm going to come in and I'm going to retwist down the bottom. Now, Caddis pupas are a fairly chunky little bug, so don't be too shy with the amount of dubbing you put on. Just going to tighten that up there, up to the tie-in point or just before. There we go. Just going to bring my thread over, and now I'm actually going to counterwind the rib, because I've found that if you go the same way, it kind of slips through the dubbing, and you kind of don't see the rib. And the rib's there to be seen, you know, it is adding segmentation. Now I'm going to trim that. And now for the thorax cover is just pheasant tail. Pull, I don't know, 10 fibres or so, something like that, 90 degrees from the stem. Line the tips up, and I'm going to catch this, pull the fibres into the end, and then I'm just going to catch them down. Don't worry if they're a little bit. I'm actually going to come back. I want a bit of a thicker thorax. I didn't do that very well at all. And like I've said before, when you're tying flies, if you're not 100% happy with how the fly is tied, you'll never tie it on, so always go back. And now we're going to add a little bit more of the hare's mask fur, just as a bit of a thorax here. Just going to come forward a little bit, always checking, because don't forget I've got to widen that hackle on. So there we go. Give me enough room. Yep. I'm going to come. It's hard to do this. So I'm going to get my nails and I'm going to push that bead back. I'm going to jump my thread over the top and catch in front. So you end up with that. But don't worry about it because we'll keep that little bit on top. Bring the thorax cover over. Come on, catch it. 1, 2, pull it back. Couple of turns. Trim. Now I'm going to put my wax on the thread here and I'm just going to have a good tidy up of this area because I want it to be nice and smooth for when I put my hackle on. Hackle is a grey partridge feather. Now I've taken the fluff. I've taken the fluff from the bottom of the feather. It leaves me with a little bit. Now what I do is I take a set of dubbing pliers and I'm just going to catch the end of the feather like that, and I'm going to pull all these fibres back, leaving me with that, and then I'm going to trim that there and making sure I've got wax on my thread again. I'm going to catch that little triangle in. So with the concave side of the feather facing the hook, come in, catch the little triangle, tie it in nice and tight, and now I'm going to shift the fly that way in the vise so that my thread can't fall off. Now, just so you can see it, I normally do this with my fingers, but I'm going to catch it with the hackle pliers. Now, this is where Offan's Mussellwhite has got to stay away for a moment because these stems are delicate. Sweep the fibres back, come around with a turn, nice and gently. Sweep the fibres back, come around with a turn. You'll only get a couple of turns out of the feather, but you only want a couple of turns. Bring the stem up, follow it with the thread, catch it, take your hackle pliers off, breathe yourself a sigh of relief, and then catch that stem in nice and tight. Whoops. And we're going to come in, trim the stem. Just have a look how everything's sitting. No, I'm happy with that. And then, as usual with these kind of flies, I'm going to just put a bit of varnish on the thread. I'm going to come in, whoopsie-daisy, with my whip finish tool. 3 or 4 turns is plenty. Come up, catch it in nice and tight, trim your thread. Now I'm going to oar in the fly a little bit more normal in the vise, and I'm just going to have a look at what I've done. Look at what you've done. There we go. And as you can see, it's a very leggy fly. It's full of movement. I like the fact the legs kind of go all over the place. And there it is, the Holy Grail Caddis. Great little catcher of fish, this one. Once again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. My subscribers have been going up steadily since I've been doing this. And I thank every single one of you. Hopefully we can continue to grow the channel and do lots more of fly tying videos and how-to videos on fishing, leader setups, you know, cast intuition, everything. You know, the more the channel goes, the channel grows, and the more subscribers I get, the more content I will add. So once again, thanks for watching. Please like the video if you liked it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.